I know it took me a minute to realize what I had, so glad I can see it now. Time flies, my view clouded, sometimes hard to see the ground. Life it gets busy, so I'm sorry if you ain't seen me around. Swear to God, if it came to it, you know I'd be there, I hold you down. We don't gotta reminisce, talk about missing them days. My best year right now, like big timers, I'm still fly. Can't cut my wings, stop this rain, it's the king here. There's too many chances, that's why I got no fear.
Yeah, man, we're looking forward to getting back to those concerts. I think the last one I saw was Dead Mouse was here in like Addison. I want to say like 3 years ago, 4 years
Mm-hmm.
ago. I'd been wanting to see him my whole life, man. Dead Mouse, yeah.
Dude, Dead Mouse is he's my childhood goat, like straight up,
Yeah.
and I still listen to him to this day, dude.
Same.
So I remember I'm pretty sure I was like 9 years old whenever Ghost and stuff, he had
Yeah.
dropped the vocals in the video for that, and I had seen that, dude, that was like mind blowing. I didn't realize people could make music like that.
No.
That was like my first taste for like the electronic scene.
Yeah.
Because before I would always listen to what my parents listened to, which was like 80s stuff, so like
Yeah.
to go from that to that was like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
it's like
that's dope.
mind blowing experience. That's fire though,
Yeah.
dude. That's fucking awesome.
But I think what made Dead Mouse so different at the time is his form of electronic music was what I would consider progressive. Right? It wasn't like you got to the drop after 30 seconds.
Right.
It was a build up for 2.5 minutes, getting to that, and then the drop happens, and you're in that drop for like another 2-3 minutes, before it takes you off into space or something, So I like that, like kind of progressive type where it builds up instead of getting right to it.
Kind of putting you into the mood at first, and then slowly but surely bringing you all the way up to that, to that peak.
And he really mastered that.
I think somebody that did that, like, that came after him that did that was like Skrillex. And
For
like
sure.
I'd say his first couple songs he did that. Like he waited for the drop to come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, damn.
I was about to say,
That's
most
crazy.
most people's first experience with Skrillex was probably Cinema.
Yeah.
And that was, that's a prime example, because it was like you had that sort of build up, and then all of a sudden it's just like, boom, then he just goes really hard.
Yeah.
Dude, we started, me and this guy started working on producing, and we're just doing the baby steps now. But doing that little bit, learning how hard it actually is, I listen to those guys and I'm like, bro, they just might be goated. They really just might be goated. Like the things that they play around with and their experimentation with sound, and just the way that they're so in tune with being able to put you in a specific type of mood while working with sounds that to the regular masses are like weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, no one would have ever expected that type of like music to take a scene like that, but it did because of the creative mind behind it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's fire.
Well, no, and it's like you can hear it in different genres too. It's like, for example, you think of like old school rock. I think of like a Pink Floyd, right? You know, it's like that build up. You don't even know when the drop is coming, right? And he's just taking you on a trip. Or you think of like Radiohead, another band. So, or you think of like Tool. It's like these different genres, but I like these artists who don't just get to the point. They build up. It's kind of like they build a story. Like you said. So that's kind of what I try to do. I don't try to get to the point, or at least like with my lyricism, I try to tell a story and be I try to be motivating. I think that's what I try to, I would say, like instill in all of my music. It's like, through all the struggles and the challenges that you've been through, look at me as an example, as somebody who's persevered and enjoyed what they're doing and loves what they're doing. And no matter what gets in front of you, you find a way, to continue doing what you enjoy, And I actually stopped making music for about 4 or 5 years.
I was gonna ask you about that because I saw that you had like a drop in 2021 and then no drop until 2026.
So yeah, I'm glad you picked that up. So I got diagnosed with autoimmune disease called celiac disease. So I'm basically allergic to gluten. But I didn't get diagnosed until like 2021. So at that time, I'd have like foggy brain. I couldn't remember things. I lost my job at the time because I'm in sales, and I would like set up meetings. I wouldn't even remember to show up to the meeting because I was so foggy brain. It'd be 10:30 in the morning. I'd be at my desk falling asleep because I had so much fatigue. I didn't know what was going on. I had constant nausea, right? I was skinny as a stick, and I lost my job, like I said, and I ended up going to the doctor and got diagnosed with celiac. And so I had to stop making music because I couldn't even think straight. So
Yeah.
mentally, physically, I just was not in the right place to make music, you know. And I hated that I couldn't make it because
Yeah.
it's my passion. But I knew I had to like refocus my priorities
So you
on myself.
Yeah.
take care of yourself.
Yeah. So I had to figure out my diet, you know, things with my wife, work, you know, all that kind of stuff. And then finally, I had my first kid, and I don't know why I started thinking about music again, and I was like, you know, when you're a kid, and I think not just in music, but different people ask themselves this when they have kids in different aspects of their life. Is like when my kid grows up and sees, Cciety or Carlos, and he's not gonna come. He's gonna, Dad,
Yeah.
hey Dad, you were making music. Why did you stop?
Mm.
You know, or what did what happened?
Mm.
And I was like, man, that feeling of like,
So that
I can't let my kids see that I stopped and I quit. You know, like, so it just lit a fire back under me. I was like, man, like
Right.
I need to start doing this again. Like I enjoyed it. You know, I loved it. You know, regardless of what kind of level you're trying to get to, if that's even important to you, like just do something that you enjoy. And I missed it so much, you know. And so I was like, man, I want to be able to show my kids, whether they do music, whatever they
Right.
decide to do. I want to set that example. I want to be that example for them of like, hey, stick to it, and this is what can happen.
Yeah.
You know.
You're already creating the standard for them.
Yeah. So that's really what's lit my fire and what's kept it burning. You know? And I have 2 kids now, so it's even
It's even more, yeah.
Yeah, it's even more. Yeah.
it's not easy to do because a lot of people don't do that. Like
Yeah.
people will quite literally go they'll take the safe route.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because of and not saying that you're not taking a safe route either way, but like I think that speaks more just for how much you love it. I think.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
awesome. I think that's really cool.
Well, yeah.
So the kid that was able to re-inspire you to reignite it.
Yeah.
I think it's the same thing. I mean, if you love what you're doing, why ever stop? I mean,
Yeah.
Mhm.
you're stopping because you're basing it off of like success or something. Your idea of success is there.
Yeah.
For me, success is getting to do it for the rest of my life. at the bare
Exactly.
minimum. And that's
Yes.
I've asked myself that in the mirror. If I get nowhere, am I still going to be happy doing what I'm doing?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, that's I think.
Yeah. And the more you get to know the industry, like even with you guys, what you're doing, what you're building, you get to see that the people who take it serious, it's a smaller group than you think.
Yeah.
People that actually take it serious. So if you take it serious, you show other people that you take it serious, they'll take you seriously.
Yeah.
You know? And that's something I've learned as well. You know? And it's unfortunate, you know, when I was sick, another thing I mentioned, like, is it also just made me have very negative I had a very negative outlook, like point of view. Like you literally thought like people were against me.
Yeah.
People were out to get me, but it was just my mind wasn't 100%, you know? And what that makes you do is it makes you exclude people who are actually trying to help you, you know? You know, like if you guys had reached out to me back then, maybe I would have felt like too big of myself, you know? And I would have been like, oh, no, I can't do that. Oh, that's too far. I don't want to do that. Or something like that. Whatever it might have been. I don't know, because I'm a different person now. I think differently.
Yeah.
But, you know, opportunities turned down like that. You know, I had friends who I did features with who were like, hey, let's come and perform. I don't feel like going out. I don't want to do that tonight.
Mhm.
And maybe that just was because I wasn't feeling it, because I wasn't in the right headspace, you know?
Yeah.
I wasn't healthy, you know, to do it. You know, I had other things that my body was telling me, hey, you need to focus on me, you know?
Yeah.
And some of those relationships, you know, unfortunately, some of those bridges have been burned. Some of those have been rebuilt, you know, but that's just how life is. That's just how it goes. Whoever's willing to understand, you know, hey, God bless them, you know. They appreciate you understanding, you know, my story and why what happened, you know. And so, yeah, man, I'm just happy to be here and just to get to do it.
I wanted to go back to what you were kind of talking about, how you were mentioning that it was whenever you had your son,
Yeah.
that was sort of a moment whenever you decided, like, you don't want to sort of look back and think, well, like, for lack of a better term, gave up on something.
Yeah.
So, as I'm not a father, none of us here are fathers, so I don't know what that experience is like. So tell me honestly, what was it like whenever the doctors handed you your son?
Like, did it hit me at that moment?
Like, did it hit you at that moment, or
No.
what moment was it?
No, I think it was just I I think it was later on, maybe 4 or 5 months in. Um, what had happened, now that you brought me to the point, I remember now. Happened is I have a close friend. His name's J Trey. He's another artist in Dallas. He had a performance like around April-ish. I had my kid in October, April of next year, and I hadn't heard from him for a while. But he reached out and invited me to his performance, and I saw him perform. Right? And he was headlining for I forget which artist it was at the time, but it was a bigger artist. And I just thought to myself, and me and this guy, we started at the same time. We started at the same place, performing at the same, show place, showcasing, right? And it's like, if I stick to something, look what could happen. And I just looked at him as an inspiration, as an example. So I think it was the two things, it was having my kid and then seeing my friend who had stuck to it, he had kids and he kept doing it, and just seeing where he was at. And I was so fucking proud of him, just beyond proud of him, because we literally went to middle school together. Like we've been knowing each other since we were 11 years old, 12 years old. We danced together, like for quinceañeras, like chambalanes, the crews that dance together and stuff. We did that together. That's how long we knew each other.
Damn, that's
yeah. And so seeing where he had gotten to, now he's opened up for like Benny the Butcher. He's opened up for sorry, I can't think off the top of my head. J Electronica. He's opened up for some big artists, and I'm just like, man, I could do this, and just thinking to myself like that, like if he could do it, I could do it, and then just not just that, you start looking back at all the people that you went to high school with. You start reflecting on a lot of things when you have kids, and you look at, whether they're providing a pool service or whether they're doing law or consulting, whatever it is, all the people that that they stuck to their craft, their business, whatever it was, through the ups and downs, they made something of it. So if that's the recipe,
that's the secret.
I just need to find the ingredients, and then I can do it myself. So that's what I'm doing right now, I'm getting back to it, finding the ingredients, finding my sound again, updating my sound, because I could talk about that too. Like,
there was a stark difference between your 2024 album, EP, and your 2026. I was even telling him about that. I was like, you can hear the lyrical difference as well as the sound quality difference between those two projects.
So, I don't like to talk too much about religion. But because it is a part of like what made the change in my music style. I converted when I was like 18, 19 years old, and when I started making music, I was very conscious about what I was putting out and the message I was putting out, and the effect it could have on other people. And over time, I just realized and I learned that music is not the right place to filter yourself. It's not the right place to filter yourself. Because it limits your creativity. It limits your artistry. And also from a religious perspective, I saw it from I started seeing it as like, man, I'm not perfect. Why would I try to display something that I'm not? I've drank, I've smoked, I've partied, I've done, and I still enjoy some of this stuff. I enjoy seeing a girl's ass shake. There's nothing wrong with. I mean, we're all human.
100%.
It's just the point I'm trying to get to. Whether those are the things that you like or is completely other things, we're all human. We all have our faults. We all have our vices. And so I just started feeling like, man, if I really want to 100% like be myself and connect with people and have people relate to me, I have to be myself, And so that's what the goal was with this project that I came out with in March, was just like, be unapologetically yourself, I'm in sales. I like hustling. I like making money. I like commission, So I talk about money, it's something that motivates me. I talk about growth. I talk about, things like cars, just things that I like but I also get, you know, into the more conscious stuff, you know, like just growth, wanting to provide for my family, things like that. So I'm learning how to mix those things, you know, like some of my past, more conscious, more preserved, conservative kind of stuff with like, this is who I really am, you know? Not, and it's tough because when you talk to people and people listen to your music who aren't maybe music oriented, or they're just hearing it, you know, there's a casual listener, they hear something, they're like, oh man, you're talking about that, you're talking about this, like that's not good, you know. And I'm talking about like my Muslim brothers, like what they would think of me, what they would think about some of the content that I make. And I get explained to them a million times that like, hey, just like I explained to you, I don't believe in limiting your artistry. I don't believe in faking, pretending to be someone I'm not. Um, and at the end of the day, like, kind of to wrap things up with like the religion thing is, it's a handbook, it's a rule book, and you can choose to follow that or not. But at the end of the day, you're the one making your decisions for your own life. So I can choose to live my life however I want, you know, and this is how I choose to live mine. And it can feel like a dichotomy or like a yin and a yang in my head, because it's like one side of me is like, you know, I'm Muslim, you know, I pray, you know, I'm trying to be a good figure, and the other side is like, but I like talking about, music and sex and partying and like drinking, you know, and like I think at the end of the day, you need to look at music as art, and art is it's it's a play on life. You know, it's fiction. You know, and a lot of artists who don't do the things that they do any longer, they talk about things that they did in the past, and that's how I look at it.
Yeah,
you know, so
we try to look at it that same way.
Yeah, we look at it the same way.
We don't do crazy things, but we still like making music about crazy things because I mean the same thing. You can't relate to people trying to be a perfect person.
Yeah, right, exactly. And like I'll do some bars like talking about a girl or like dancing or seeing something. I'll like say to my girl, I'll be like, hey babe, like, you all right with this? She'll be like, she does not care, which I'm like, I love you. Yeah, you know, because she knows me. Yeah, she knows, like, I'll talk about anything, but she knows how faithful I am. She knows how good of a guy I am, you know. So it's like, it's whatever, you know. So I love her for that. Not a lot of girls would be okay with that, you know. But hey,
I like making up stories, and then I'll have people ask me like, "Who are you talking about?" It's just like I'm seeing it from a point of view. It's more of like me putting myself in someone's picture instead of it doesn't always have to be me. Yeah, but I'm trying to, in the way I'm describing the song and the way I'm writing it, it's me. But at the same time, it could be completely fictionalized.
Yeah. But so tell me like a little bit about y'all's background, because you mentioned music production. You know, we're doing a podcast today. Yeah, it sounds like y'all are like trying to have like an umbrella of things that y'all are doing. Like, tell me a little bit about y'all's background.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely give you the rundown. First and foremost, I mean, we like to look at ourselves as a studio, so specifically a music studio. So we focus on music first, but then we also like to give artists a platform to express themselves. The tagline that we always use is, we take small artists with big dreams and turn them into real records. And that's sort of the process and the inspiration behind everything that we do here at Intrizio, which is just giving people a platform to express themselves in the fullest way possible. Kind of like how you were saying, be unapologetically themselves. Yeah. And that's why we have the artist spotlight here, so that way anybody that we bring in and they come on to the show, they get a chance to express themselves, talk about themselves, just be the real version of themselves. Because when you are an artist, when you're behind the thought process of making music, you know this too, you are building a persona. Like, you are still yourself, like, especially like, you know, you let your real self come out, but the way that you portray yourself though to other people, they'll never know the real you. Yeah. Like, they'll never know the real Cciety unless they were to watch this podcast. Right. Or they were to know you in person. Yeah. And so that's kind of exactly the sort of thing that we're going for here. That's cool. And yeah, I mean, honestly, to wrap it up in a nice little bow, we really just want to give everybody a platform. That's and cool. Have everybody come in and build a nice community, because we're all here, we're all making music, we're all loving what we're doing. So let's just keep on doing it. Let's just keep on building and keep on growing. And
is there something that is there a point that inspired wanting to help others display themselves?
Yeah. So the biggest thing, we started as artists. We started making music about 6 years ago.
I saw some of your music. It's really good.
And so
Appreciate
we're all artists ourselves, as well as still in the business aspect of things.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to tailor the business aspect of things now. The whole point that it started was, especially the way we saw ourselves, which was we believe that talent is everywhere, but development is very rare. Good development, people willing to take care of you who actually care about what you're trying to put out. On top of that, the biggest thing too is that we love underdogs as well, and we are trying to show people that you can live the life that you want and still make music, still live a creative life. And success is many levels. You can, if your idea of success is super big and super to the top, cool. What are you going to do to get there? And do you actually have the plans to step it? But at the same time, I want to show people you can be an artist. You can do small shows around the area. You can find a way to make a living, especially with the internet now and content. There's ways where you can make your revenue. Same thing like you said. You just got to stick to it.
Yeah.
And so the name Intrizio, it comes from two Latin words, intrinsic and passio, which means intrinsic passion. So it's passion from within. So the whole idea of what we reach out to people and people we work with and people we're trying to get in the studio is that all you need to do is have a passion. For us, that was the same thing too. We took a long break. We took a time off for the same thing. We had mental health issues that we were not taking care of our own personal problems.
Yeah.
And so, but we knew we always wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And so we got back to it and we came back to it. And even though everyone counted us out, we knew specifically, no, we're going to come back to it, but we need to make sure that we just stick to it.
That's cool.
And it's kind of the showing the same people the same thing, which is don't give up. Just keep with it. And what we're trying to do is like be a record label without being a record label. So we want to collaborate with people, but at the end of the day, your music is always your music when you leave.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a profit like in shares. Like if I was a part of 20% production, you know, you have those shares and stuff, but I don't want to own your stuff. I want you to own your stuff.
Right.
I also don't need to slap Intrizio on everything. Like I don't need to be super overly branding on everything.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we're really just trying to connect with people. We started this podcast as a way to where hopefully showing the community we'd like to do something for people and then in return see if the favor returns for us. And so like that's why we keep this like we don't charge anybody. We're reaching out to people. We're finding people on our own. It's just to show people that there is someone out here who cares.
Yeah.
Eventually that'll turn around.
Yeah, the demand is gonna turn around eventually. People, you're gonna have a line outside the door.
Yeah. Well, we're definitely getting booked. We had to limit ourselves to 2 people a weekend because we can't provide a good interview if we do any more. We tried doing 3 or 4.
Yeah. It was too much.
It's too much, and so we record 2, we post up to 2 every week, and so we try to stay a couple weeks ahead. But yeah, we're already booked next month.
We did 3. We recorded 3 podcasts in one day. One, like, I think it was like, 2 weekends ago?
Yeah.
Dude, we were skeletons by the end.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Hopefully you took breaks
bro.
in between to eat or something.
Oh, yeah,
right?
we did. We definitely took breaks in between. We had a nice little refresher in between. But by the time that the camera stopped rolling for the last guy, 88 Killa, he was the final one of the day. By the way, could not have been a better pick for the final one because he had a lot of charisma and everything, and he carried the conversation.
Yeah.
But by the time his cut and we ended it, dude, I was like, I'm ready to get out of here.
Yeah, you don't want to hear yourself talk for the next week.
Exactly. Big B made that joke that he didn't want to talk to anybody for a week.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
when that's funny. When I graduated from school, my wife asked me, "What's the one thing you're looking forward to the most after graduating?" I said, "Never having to take an exam or a test again, or never having to read a book again." And that's pretty sad, is to graduate from school and not want to read books.
Yeah.
It's like, isn't it supposed to be the opposite? You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's because you end up having to do a lot of stuff that you maybe like don't want to, just to achieve a goal. But like at the end of the day, it's just to show jobs and to show employers that you can stick with something and complete it. That's really all it is. They don't care about your GPA.
Right.
I never got asked about my GPA.
No.
It's like they just want to see that you stuck to something and completed it. Yeah.
I want to ask you. You described your music as red and yellow, and you're wearing all red. Is red your favorite color?
That's crazy, actually.
What does the red and yellow mean?
I think I relate red with relentlessness.
Mm.
So I was bullied in school when I was younger, and it goes back to kind of when I was saying about lighting a fire. It did light a fire under me in regards to not wanting or letting people ever fuck with me. you know, I learned over time that I had to set boundaries for that, because what it ended up doing is pushing people away that were trying to help, but because of my habitual instinct to just put up a wall.
Yeah.
You know, it blocks people away. So I had to learn when what moments to use that and what moments to not use that. And I learned that in music, I could just let that free as much as I want, you know? I could just, like I said, unapologetically be myself and say, like, my music, part of it is also just a big fuck you to anybody who ever tried to get in my way, anybody who ever tried to put me down. And I tried to reflect that in the words, in the energy, even down to the speed, so that people feel that same way when they hear that music. Is like whatever they're doing is like, I got this. I'm in control, you know? Yeah. And that's the feeling I like to give. And I think that's what I relate back to red. It's a fierce color, you know? And it's like, you know, whatever you're doing it full throttle, you know? So that's just what I related to. Yeah.
What about yellow? Favorite yellow? Or is just...
I think yellow is the light, you know?
Yeah.
It's the positivity.
The balance.
Yeah, it's the balance. Exactly. It's the fierceness with the limitation. You know? Limiting yourself, doing it for a better good, you know, rather than letting it take over you. And you know, and create negativity, turning that negativity into something positive, you know? And that's what I always try to do.
I won't say like, you keep yourself calm on the outside, but there is that red inside you, that fire.
I feel that. I definitely feel that.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
But I try to mask it with, not mask it, but I try to mix it with, like, you know, joy, excitement, and focus it in that area, you know?
Yeah.
So
So
your name, Cciety. How many people pronounce that wrong?
Almost everybody. When you got it, I was like, man. I almost said something. I was like, man, you're the first. No, but a lot of people,
What do they usually say?
C-City.
Oh.
C-City, yeah. Or they just wait for me to tell them how it's said, yeah. Yeah. But it was, I came up with that name back when I started making music because, again, my idea was I'm making music for the people. You know, this is music for the people, to help them, to guide them.
Yeah.
When I came back out with my music, I tried to go just by my name, Carlos Aegis, and everybody at shows would just call me Cciety. I was like, I'm just gonna stick with the name.
Did you drop music under Carlos Aegis?
I did.
Okay, we saw that. I got pulled up. I couldn't tell if that was you or not, but we did see stuff.
I did.
Was like, oh,
Yeah, and it wasn't like anything different as far as like the image persona. I just tried to go under my real name. Yeah. I wanted people to know me for my real name. I thought it was easy, you know, Aegis, 4 letters, Carlos Aegis, you know. It's like I was thinking like J. Cole, Carlos Aegis, easy, you know. But everybody just remembered me as Cciety. I was like, I'm just gonna go by Cciety.
I will say that it is definitely roll off the tongue. Yeah, more memorable.
Yeah. So
nothing wrong with that.
Nope,
not at all.
A lot of people we had to switch our brand name the very first time. That was a big thing trying to create Intrizio. Was like, what rolls off the tongue? What's like a good name that's original that nobody else has, and something like that.
Yeah. What was it at first?
614 Crew Productions.
614. That makes me think of like a coffee shop immediately.
It was the numbers to our first apartment because that was like where all of our creativity started. A bunch of like our ideas and stories started. So it was based off that.
Nice.
Yeah, we thought that would roll, but honestly, you kind of have to choose. Sometimes with making those decisions, you kind of have to think of the audience or the people as well. It's like, will this stick and will people be able to remember this? Which is why a lot of people change their names, especially artists. Most people don't go by their real name. Even people who have like a regular name, it's not even half the time their real name. It's switched or shortened in some way.
I half the artists I know, like, I've known them for a couple of years, and I still just know them by their artist name. I don't even know their real name, and I'm close with them too. You know, in my phone, like, this is Yogi. You know, this is my friend. Yeah.
How many? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I liked what you had to say about Red, about that relentlessness, about that emotion, kind of. And when I listened to songs like "Miss You" and one of my personal favorites. Of course, On My Way, that's what it was. Yeah. Because there was also another one, it was like All Mine, which I thought was also pretty fire. Yeah. But what all 3 of those songs had in common for me was that there was a lot of emotion, especially on Miss Me, which was, you gonna miss me now, miss. Yeah. I heard that. Whenever you're doing that little, like, I really heard that emotion behind it. And I'm just curious, like, what What type of emotions are you tapping into to get that feel, to get that sort of flow and that cadence?
That's a song I really stepped out of my comfort zone on. I was always used to just traditional hip hop is what I've always done, and that song I did it with a girl. Her name's Not Really Dre. She's a great artist. I met her through one of the performances I was doing with a guy named Anthony here in Dallas in the local area. But yeah, it was a song. It was a beat that I heard, and I'd never tried going into like digging into that bucket of hurt feelings from past relationships. I'd never done that. So when I found that song, and I started writing the chorus, I always start with the chorus, like something that's gonna be catchy, and I just feel like something that you would be freestyling, and it's like 4 or 5 words, and you just start saying it. That's usually what I make as a chorus. So I started saying, "You're gonna miss me now, when you see I'm gone and I ain't coming back." And I started thinking of all the emotions and all the feelings and all the past relationships that I could relate that to, And like, look where I am now. You look what I've accomplished, and you didn't believe in me back then, or you gave up on our relationship back then. And I'm really glad that you heard that, because that was the first recording I ever cried. Just to share the information. But like, I had to stop myself in between recordings because I started getting really emotional.
Like that.
Yeah. And I'd never gone into that bucket, so I'd never experienced releasing those feelings. I think as men, a lot of times we have trouble digging into that bucket. So it was very new to me, and I think it was after I took that little break of shedding some tears, and I came back, I recorded, and that's what you heard, And I didn't even record that in a good environment, and so I asked, like, it was in an open room. I didn't have like any filter up or anything. So I asked my producer, I was like, "Is this good? Is it good?" He's like, "Yeah, we can work with it," But yeah, it's like I like you could hear in the recording, I crack up a little bit whenever I'm saying it, like, "You're gonna miss me now, and I get a little like I have a little vibrato going on.
I hear it now.
But I don't usually have it when I sing, but it came out because I was crying. So yeah, man.
Damn. Dude, that having to like tap into that, or being able to tap into that, I mean, that is definitely something that I feel like a lot of newer artists struggle with.
Yeah.
So the fact that, you were able to actually dig down and get those emotions out.
Yeah.
And then not only that too, most people when they start breaking down and they cry, after that, I mean, they're like out of it. But the fact that you had a moment and then you were like, all right, bet, let's do it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of just like getting at it and being relentless, like you were saying. That red symbolizes that.
I honestly have to thank my wife for that, because like I was able to write about that because now I'm in such a better place, And it's just another thing that, when you write something like that, I'm like, "Babe, this isn't about you,"
Yeah.
It's like saying something like that. But she understands completely from artist side, like I'm just sharing life experiences, But yeah, man.
So did that song change your creative process, or did it?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
How?
Just to look at the different types of music that you listen to on a normal day-to-day basis. And think about how you can incorporate those sounds or something of your own interpretation into your music, So like I was mentioning, like Radiohead, Deadmau5, these are all types of music that I listen to, but I've never made like a acid rock, I would consider, type song, or like a any other type of genre, like a pop rock, or like I listen to Trippie Redd a lot. I've never made like an emotional kind of rock rap kind of song. And when I heard that beat, I started thinking about Trippie Redd. I was like, oh man, I love Trippie Redd. This sounds like something that I could do my own kind of interpretation of like what he does, like talking about love, but also like saying fuck love, but like you're gonna miss me, like. And so it was kind of my own interpretation of like my inspiration from listening to someone like Trippie Redd, or that kind of rap, you know, genre.
Yeah.
And doing my own thing to it. So it's like I don't really like Western that much. It'd be hard for me to try that. I'd really have to find like a beat I really like. Like I appreciate like a lot of these new sounds you hear, like a lot of artists fusing like the rock and the Western and the Western sound.
Yeah.
I just can't do it. I can't find something. It's too, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have to find something that I would like. Maybe it has to be faster paced, but I enjoy country music. I don't think I could do it though.
Yeah.
But I do like doing like the pop rock kind of going.
I will
trying
say
to do more stuff in that.
You definitely stepped out your comfort zone. Because that Miss Me was my favorite song. I like music like that more than just hip hop. I love hip hop. But I definitely kind of steer a little towards that alternative rock, kind of mixed in with hip hop as well. Still,
nice.
That was my favorite song on the album. I think you should continue to try that.
The reason I love Miss Me is because of the change. Like I'm listening to this and then I'm like, wait a minute, you can do this too? All right.
Yeah, okay.
It makes me swing like my ear and I'm like, okay, he can do this, he can do that.
I see.
So I like that you step out.
Yeah.
All your songs did that though.
Yeah.
I like that. Was the album called Garland Gator?
Yeah.
Okay, so that entire album I like because I feel like every song you actually switch it up, and so it doesn't get boring. You kind of switch a different style. You try something new with the ad-lib. You try something new with the way you're doubling or harmonizing certain things. Yeah, which I think is really cool and shows to me you're taking it seriously because you're paying attention to little things. Yeah, you're trying little things here that it may not be fully noticed, but I think anyone else who creates is paying attention and can see those things. For me, those like speak the difference between an artist who just records and an artist who actually can tell is putting in the time of recording because they know to do those things. You don't know to do certain things like ad libs, doubles, and certain try a different melody or try a different vibrato here unless you've practiced and kind of failed and tested it out.
Yeah, no, that's the kind of like I would say like formula that I try to go in with this project is sticking to, because I had some people give me feedback that they really like when I do melodies in my choruses. So I was like, all right, for this project, my choruses are melodies. And then for the verses, people like my bars, so I'm just gonna give them straight bars. Yeah. So if you go back and you listen to the project, that's what I'm doing in each song. Is the chorus, melody. You go to the verses, bars. Yeah.
That's why the song kind of gets stuck in your head. What was the song you were listening to earlier that reminded you of somebody?
It reminded you had a song, and of course my mind is blanking now that I'm in front of the damn camera. But it was a song that sounded very Schoolboy Q, and I was wondering, like, do you also fuck with Schoolboy Q? Do you maybe like draw some kind of inspiration from it, maybe?
Yeah. So, inspirations from
Let's get into it. Because I got a question. I got a great question.
It's you're gonna be going back to the beginning of hip hop to like current. Yeah. So like, I'm gonna give you 5. Let's say Tribe Called Quest, and I'm gonna give you old, half new. Tribe Called Quest, Rakim. I'm gonna put these as one because they duoed a lot. Yeah. Mos Def and Talib Kweli. Those 3. I'm gonna give you for old school, like Black Stars, Talib Kweli, Mos Def. New school, ASAP Mob. Wow. ASAP Mob heavy, and then pretty much anything Drake. Yeah, because I really appreciate Drake, because even though a lot of people, I don't know why, will clown on him, his versatility. Like you were talking about, when you listen to Drake, you usually don't skip a song because, he can do this as well. He can do that. And he's always doing that in all his music. And I really I wish he was appreciated more in the industry for that. But I think he's not, because he's not just straight hip hop, but I really appreciate that he does that in his music, and it's like he has like an audience for different types of music, and he knows how to cater to them. Yeah. Like, I'm gonna give you that Caribbean kind of flow that you like, that's kind of new. I'm gonna do this feature here for this reggaeton song that you like. I'm gonna give you this, so I like that he can change, what he's doing, and it sounds good, And ASAP, because like anything from like Schoolboy Q is not really ASAP, right? But
he did a lot of work with them.
He did a lot of work with them, yeah.
He did
but like ASAP Rocky, ASAP Ferg, I like how they go their off flow kind of cadence. I use a lot, so I like going between like that and like a Drake kind of flow is kind of like the blend that I fuse. And probably forgot to throw in Wu-Tang, but Wu-Tang as well. Yeah.
To go along with how you said about how you brought up Drake and ASAP,
yeah.
you had cited that your three biggest inspirations were Mos Def, Drake, and ASAP Rocky. So you got a lyricist, a hit maker, and a stylist.
Yeah.
Out of those three, which do you think is the most you?
Stylist. Absolutely. Because I really am into fashion, right? So I relate a lot more to the like ASAP Rocky and how he kind of fused the fashion into the hip hop scene, and how like even Playboi Carti took that when he first came out and started collabing with ASAP Rocky. A lot of people don't remember that or know him from then, but like, and then he kind of took it and then he kind of carried that wave of fashion. You know, I really like the fusion of fashion with music. Yeah, I used to draw women's clothing as a kid and stuff like that. I didn't like drawing men's clothing because I felt it was very limited in what you could do. So I liked drawing like women's dresses and stuff just because, you know, I liked making different things and different designs, things like that. So
to kind of speak on one of your inspirations, I saw that you like Black Thought.
Yes.
Black Thought's one of the hardest people to be on a feature with, and I saw that you said that you wanted to challenge yourself.
Yeah.
My question is why Black Thought?
Because anybody who knows lyricism in hip hop knows that he's at the top.
Yeah.
There's nothing. You're not gonna get any better than Black Thought.
Yeah.
I would say like maybe Q-Tip, Rakim at his prime. You know, but they made some hits, but like lyrically, you know, like you could even say like Eminem and stuff like that. But I just think that you wouldn't even have an Eminem without Black Thought.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even have like a what's his, I can't even think of his name. Is it Big Pun, the Puerto Rican?
You're right. Yep.
I mean, you wouldn't have Eminem without Big Pun,
Mm-hmm.
right? Eminem said his biggest inspiration was Big Pun, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that carry, like, you can hear it. You can hear the inspiration, you know? So, like, when I go back and I think of, like, all right, who just is on top when it comes to lyrics, it's, I can't say it's anyone better than, you know, the Roots, Black Thought. Yeah. And I think it's because he didn't have any hit makers, huge hit makers. It's people who really know hip hop know him.
Yeah.
But outside of that, he's not really well known. You know,
like you said, he's your favorite rapper's favorite rapper.
It's kind of like MF Doom.
Yeah, like people don't even know the Roots. They know they'll know Questlove, but they don't know the Roots. You know, so
another sleeper inspiration that not a lot of people talk about is the Far Side.
Yeah.
The Far Side is those guys are goated, and they're behind. What's crazy too is that it's Booty Brown. Booty Brown is responsible for most of the rap hits that you heard in the '90s. He was he was doing what Lil Yachty's doing now. He was doing what Andre 3000 was doing back in those days, in those time. And yeah, those little sleeper inspirations, you don't really think about it, and they don't get the credit they deserve for being the backbone of like most of the stars and hit makers that we know to this day.
Yeah. No, even artists who like, again, didn't have the big hits that made the radio, that who did it differently. Like, I wouldn't even say like Common. A lot of people don't shout out Common as an artist, but if you listen to his work, he really was just a poet on the beat.
Yeah.
He really was a poet on the beat, you know, more than he was a rapper. But it was so different. It sounded so different, you know. So I like hearing different artists like that, like a Andre 3000, you know, who like, you hear them and they just sound so different. You know, like whenever Kendrick came out.
Yeah.
I'm not so much of a fan of like the new like like the kind of like expressive like kind of thing he's doing. Yeah, it's not, but I like how he first came out, you know, and he was doing like his stuff. Yeah. Yeah. As funny, but it's funny how when I said that you immediately knew what I was talking about. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, I agree with you in the sense where it's like those people who were writing shit back in the day. I feel like the people now that don't even really hold a candle. Like, as much as I love Kendrick, and I think he's a masterful lyricist, I will say that till the day that I die. He is one of the best lyricists of this generation, for sure. But when it comes to comparing him to what they were having to write back then, you know, he had the shoulders of giants to stand on.
Yeah.
So he was able to draw inspiration. That's why he's been able to master his craft. But these guys, there were no shoulders for them to stand on. They were the ones who created that. Who literally made like you said, made the playbook, sculpted the mountain that people could climb. And it's important to recognize that whenever you think about music, because you really get to see how artists actually grow. And being able to see that process also in turn helps you grow as an artist, because now you start to push the boundaries of where your sound is, which is something that I noticed that you do a lot. You push the boundaries of your sound, especially like with songs like how we already mentioned, Miss Me. What are some of the challenges that come with getting out of your comfort zone? What's the biggest thing that you think holds you back?
Would you say it's like when it comes to, is a question like relating to just coming out with new types of sound,
like
music, or
when it comes to experimenting with your style?
Okay.
Like jumping between those different types of styles.
I would say finding the inspiration, right? For me, like coming out with coming out with a new song that's in a space that is outside of my comfort zone or something new to me. Like I said, that feature, when I heard the song, I didn't think to myself immediately, oh, this is a song I'm gonna make myself. I immediately heard someone else on it as well with me, you know? And I think it's not finding the sound, more or less finding the person to collaborate with is the hard. It's not necessarily hard, but it's just a matter of time, you know? Finding the right person and the right sound where you're like, oh, I like what they do. You know, I wonder how I would sound doing my own interpretation with them or something like that, you know? So I think it's just coming across that sound and the right person to work with, you know, really is the hardest part. You know, and I think that's just the more you expose yourself, you know, doing podcasts like this, doing different shows, seeing different artists, connecting with them. You know, if you like their sound, you know, that's how that girl and I connected with that song. She did that show. You know, I connected with, I told her, hey, I really like your sound. It's awesome. I haven't heard an artist do a sound like yours in any of these shows, you know. So I'd love to work with you, you know. And she was open to it, you know. It's great when you meet somebody too that's just, there's a lot of artists will not want to collaborate. You know, that they, maybe they feel like, I don't know what they feel, to be honest with you. But
some people are too big for their heads. Some
maybe they're
just
too big for their heads. Yeah. I think even if you look at it as competition, I mean, competition is good.
Yeah.
And competition is going to make you both try your best. And the song's going to sound really good.
Yeah.
You know? So there's nothing wrong with competition, you know? But it's also just to challenge yourself. And so, you know, reached out to her and I heard that beat and I was like, man, I want to challenge myself to do this. And I was like, crossing my fingers and toes. I hope she wants to do it too. I sent it to her and she was like, this is awesome. I'm in love with the chorus. It's like, I love it. It's so catchy. She was like, I think she sent me her verse like that evening. Like she sent me her recording that evening or the next day. And I was like, wow, this is really good. Like we need to record this. So we held on to it probably about 5-6 months before we recorded. Because I would, you know, I wasn't ready to put anything out at the time. And then I thought about putting together this project. Had done a couple features, but that was the one that I was like, this is the one I want to put out because it was different.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure.
So I see some guitars and a bass in here. Anyone who plays bass?
Yeah, I can play guitar in a little bit. I know bass. I've been playing guitar since I was 12. I've definitely taken a break.
Okay.
So, but trying to teach Big B how to play bass here. In the future.
Nice.
We're trying to just become multifaceted and multi-skilled. That's the biggest thing, is expanding on. Kind of what you were describing, I guess. That's where I got caught up. Kind of what you were describing is you start in a lane, I feel like, or you kind of have to start in a lane, or you kind of start with a certain type of sound, but then you start to break out of that box. You don't want to just be a hip hop artist, and so now it's just like transforming into an artist.
Yeah.
Which I think is where, when people finally like make that change, and I feel like this that makes the difference, is when you're able to break from being a hip hop artist to just being an artist who's willing to try anything, who's willing to try any sounds, who's willing to experiment. It's kind of the same thing too. Is like with learning bass and stuff. Big Beast started as just like a love song type of guy making rod wave type style music.
Yeah.
And since then, we've experimented and challenged him to try every single thing we can. He's hopped on a blues song.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
And so that's the biggest thing too. Is we're trying to teach ourselves how to play bass, how to just to get more musically inclined, to teach ourselves things, to maybe find a different rhythm that we wouldn't have had before.
Yeah.
A different type of style that we wouldn't have had before.
Did you start with guitar or bass or?
I started with guitar. I started with guitar when I was about 13 and fully self-taught. I started just watching YouTube videos and stuff and teaching myself. And so I was playing a bunch of covers for the longest time. And then
did you ever get in a band or do any shows or?
No, not really. Like I said, with the guitar, I never took it seriously. That was kind of just what was my first step into music, I guess. That's what taught me to fall in love with it, was learning how to play guitar. And now I've just started to get back into it to where, because for the longest time I was kind of just like a campfire guitarist kind of guy. Like I could play covers, I could play other people's stuff, but I'm trying to get into where I'm creating my own riffs. I'm creating my own rhythms. I'm creating my own melodies. So that is still the hardest part, I think.
Yeah.
Still trying to figure out how to create, how to actually. It's easy to replicate what someone else did, but actually making something new, making sound.
Yeah.
And then still as well blending that in with the bass, figuring out how to get those things line up. I'm an engineer more than anything. That's like my first job, and that's what I taught myself how to do.
Nice.
When we first started making music and opening the studio, that's what. For me, I was an artist, but then I was always trying to think of a backup plan.
Yeah.
I was always like, okay, I can't put all my eggs in one basket. If I'm not an artist, is there still a way for me to be in the music scene? Is there still
right? Yeah.
And so that's what I was like. I see everyone wants to know how to make their stuff sound good. Everyone needs an engineer, and I fully didn't even know what the word engineer was at that time.
Yeah.
But then I started doing my research, and I was like, this is something that I think is really difficult to learn, that I think if I apply myself, I can do it, and this will be my leverage for a little bit.
Yeah. And not a lot of people are willing to dedicate the time to learn it themselves, because a lot of people don't realize it's a whole different language, right? Yeah. So you got to learn a different language.
It's a lot. It's a science.
Yeah.
It's fully. Looking at numbers, it's now I see music not just musically. I see it numerically. I see it on a scale. I see it on a graph. I see it in a space. Yeah. So it's trying to turn it into like 3-dimensional and completely change.
Oh, that's
the way
2 decibels
everything.
too loud. Fuck.
Yeah.
Turn it down.
I don't slap the engineer on it for no reason.
Yeah.
But I try to take pride in my engineering, because I'm once again fully self-taught on all my engineering, and that was a very difficult thing to learn, and especially to learn how to recognize and hear it.
Yeah, it's hard.
Do you record yourself, or do you record in a studio, or
just from home in a closet? Yeah. Just like whenever I need to, I have my mic already set up there. I just take out. I just like open up the closet. I put like a blanket around. I put a chair on the other side, and that's like my soundproof studio. Yeah, it works out.
So and the same way, just in a closet with some egg cartons.
Nice. And then I have a guy I work with. You might know him because he's local. He's Sprouts. I don't know if you know Sprouts music. He's
sounds familiar.
He's a producer here based out of Fort Worth. But he's he mixes and masters all my music. Yeah. So I work with him. Record everything, send it over, and he sends it to me. Is this good? Just go back and forth.
Do you have somebody that produces your beats, or do you find them on the web?
I find them on the web. Yeah. So it's interesting. What was really hard for me back when I was first making music, and I think what I really appreciate what you guys are doing, because we didn't have that much like of a I don't think the podcast scene was that big back in like maybe 2021 or as big. So this is very helpful for artists, and I'm sure you've heard that from other artists. But I think 2 other areas where artists really struggle with is finding the right way to promote yourself, right? And then also finding a talent agent, as well as probably actually 3, finding like a music producer, or an engineer. So thankfully I was able to find that music production part through I have my friend Jay Trey, another artist. I was asking him, hey, is there someone local I can work with? So he recommended him as a mixer engineer. But I was still looking for somebody to produce. I'd hear different beats from different local producers, and Some of them I like, some of them not so much. None of them I really clicked with.
Yeah.
So I ended up going to BeatStars.
Yeah.
I just ended up going online and going to BeatStars, and like, man, it's like a needle in a haystack. Like, you'll listen to 100, 200 beats, and they'll be okay. You can tell they're from BeatStars, you know. But then you'll come across a beat, and you're like, hey, it's got like 20, 30 likes. Not a lot of people have found it, and it's good. You know, and I know what's even better is I know a producer locally where it's like, if I like a beat that I hear, he can take it if I buy the stems, and he can change it up however I want. Make it my own. A little
original.
Exactly. So what my formula is, I'll find a beat I really like on BeatStars, write to it, record to it. I send it to my guy who can just structure it, build it around my cadence or my word flow, you know, however I rap to it. And then after I have that, I'll send it to my guy here in Fort Worth to mix it and master it. So it ends up sounding really personalized and really, you know, mine. Yeah.
When it comes to what you've been making recently, especially given the fact that you have done so much experimenting already, especially with Garland Gator, do you feel like you are starting to find a sound that you prefer the most? And if so, what sound do you think that is? Like, which style do you think represents that?
Yes, I think it helped give me a vision of the path I want to go in and the different avenues I can take to open up, like I said, like with Miss Me, to open up and experiment and do different things. But I think it's really that blend of like my inspirations, like the stylistic rap with like I don't even know what you would consider Drake when it comes to hip hop, like his approach. I would say like almost braggadocious.
Yeah.
Right. So I would say my style is stylistic with mixed with braggadocious, mixed with that red and yellow, right? That encouragement, that fire, but that light as well. So it's a mix of all of those things, and I think it relates well to my name, Cciety.
Yeah. You still keep humility in there as well too.
Yeah. So it's like a combination of just different emotions and different things that we all experience, different ways that people can relate, different things that people can relate to.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say that was actually cool that you pointed out that little connection between your name and your sound and where all of it comes from, because like it is a melting pot.
Yeah.
Just like how a cohesive society should be.
Yeah.
And that's cool. I just like that.
I didn't even make that connection until we started talking about it. You know, it's like it's helpful whenever you get to talk to people and look at it from a different perspective, step outside of yourself. You know, so that's helpful.
Is there a style you're looking to try soon? You tried that like kind of alt-rage, trippy red. Is there like an artist or something that's trying something cool that maybe you'd like to try to dip your hand in?
I like the sounds with the no 808s that artists are going with, like the like a Uzi, Lil Uzi. You know, like the sounds without the 808, where it's like bum 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 bum. It's like fast,
like the Jersey Club.
Like
the
Jersey
Club.
That's what,
I know
what
you mean. Yeah, it's like
Jersey
Club.
I like that. I want to try something like that. I just don't know what. I haven't even tried experimenting it. What I like, but I like the sound.
Jersey Club is cool. I love.
Try to experiment with stuff like that too.
Yeah,
that stuff's fun. I feel like making something
exactly.
Like that is,
it's upbeat. It's fast, so it fits. You know, my rap style and the kind of energy I want to come with. Yeah, and try something with that.
So you're opening up for Lil Nar?
I don't know if I'm runner up, but yeah, I'm gonna get to be part of the lineup. It's exciting, man, because it's weird because you listen to some of the artists that you're gonna get to open up for, and you're like, man, I can't relate to this guy at all.
Yeah.
You know, like where he comes from, his background, but at the same time, it's weird how you can be from two completely different lives, but there's a connection with the energy.
Yeah.
You know? And he's coming with that fuck you energy.
Yeah.
And I'm coming with that fuck you energy.
Yeah.
You know? Maybe it's from a completely different walk of life.
Yeah.
But that opportunity to get to work and be even in the same room as an artist like him, maybe not everyone knows him, but you know, it's funny. When YT, the talent agent, told me about Lil Nar, it's like, Lil Nar, Lil Nar. It's like, I know that name.
Yeah.
You know, so I started looking through my Spotify, like your liked playlist. I was like, man, I've been listening to this guy since 2017.
Yep.
Drop Top Bands.
Yep.
Yeah. When he was doing with Lil Skies, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, dude, with no hands. And I was like, damn, I'm going to get to like be in the same room as him and perform. Mm-hmm. So it's just, for me, that's success.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just that excitement and that opportunity to get to be in the same room as somebody who I listen to in the car.
Right.
To me, that's already success. You know? Doesn't matter if I get a paycheck or who notices me. Yeah, you know, just enjoy the process. I'm just so happy that I get to do my thing.
It's a once in a lifetime opportunity to be able to do something like that that not everybody is able to do because, like we said before, you've got to stay consistent.
Yep.
And staying consistent, doing the grind and working on the craft will get you to those places.
Yep.
And yeah, that must be that must be a dream come true.
Yeah.
And especially since you get to do it at the historic Haltom City Theater too.
Yeah. Yeah.
That shit's gonna be gas.
It is. It's gonna be fun. No, but it's like, again, really, like everybody who they stuck to their craft, they create a name for themselves and they get to work with whoever they want. Like there's artists in the trap genre who don't even come from that kind of background.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that like they might be like rich kids who like
from the suburbs.
They've never experienced that, but that's the kind of music they grew up to. That's what they like. And guess what? They get to open up and headline and feature with those kind of artists because they want to. Who cares what anyone else thinks?
Right.
You know, or whatever they say. If that's what you want, go do it. You know? So.
Well, we're talking about performing. I want to kind of get into your like head.
Yeah.
See what you see. Walk me through like the 15 minutes before you're performing. What do you do? What do you tend to do? You get nervous. You start reciting things. You start practicing. I just want to like, what do you do? Kind of stay to yourself? Do you stay calm and start meditating or anything?
That's a good question, man. Honestly, I'm very, very relaxed. I'm just watching the show. I'm in the crowd watching whoever's going before me, enjoying their show, rooting them on. I think my comfort in performing and being in front of a crowd comes from I was swimming my whole life, my whole childhood. So I was swimming since 5 years old up until high school. I competed regionally, went to a regional state. So got to do different like competitions. And if you know swimming, it's a single man sport. Yeah. You're the only person in your lane, you're performing, your time is your time. And it's funny, you asked my mom, like, why would he be so upset after a race? I would be upset if my time was slower than my last race. I wasn't upset if I lost to someone else. I was upset if I lost against myself. You know, so a lot of that translated to me with music. You know, the competitiveness, the drive, and I think the comfort with just doing things myself and not depending on anyone else. So whenever I'm up on the stage, I don't feel any nervousness at all. If anything, what I struggle with the most and my nervousness comes from just lung capacity, just trying to keep up and not lose my breath, just being conscious of that, and that trying to find different ways like to prepare prior to a show to where you don't even have to worry about that. Like for this show that's coming up, I'm gonna be reciting my set while I'm running, like while I'm exercising. Yeah, you know.
Damn,
so
that's actually genius, dude.
That's what I was just about to ask you.
Yeah. So that way, because what happens is what I've done up to this point is you're doing your set, walking around, but you don't realize when you actually go up and perform, you're excited. Yeah. You're jumping. You're running around. You're trying to get the people involved. So there's a lot more energy coming out of you than you were used to when you were practicing. So you're like, why am I so tired? I've practiced this a million times. Why am I exhausted? Why can't I even get past the third song? Trust me, every artist has thought about this shit. Yeah. And it's because you're not really putting yourself in that environment that you'd be in. Yeah. So if you exercise, it's like, hey, you know, you're gassing yourself out, you're tying yourself out so that when you get to that moment and I have to perform, hopefully, you know, it's kind of like, you know, like an athlete goes to like the mountains or somewhere where there's high elevation to practice. Yeah. So that when they come back, right, lower elevation, it's like a breeze. You know, it's kind of the same thought process I'm trying to use. So, yeah.
Those are things that people don't really think about either whenever they're making the music and they're getting ready to perform, is they don't really think about how much energy it's actually going to take.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why marching bands, they also do a very similar thing to what you do. Like if you've ever seen those guys in high school, they're out there on the big field, the hot sun, hours at a time. And the reason why they're doing that is because when they're in the full band getup, and they got a freaking 15-pound drum strapped to them, and they're having to play on time in front of a whole bunch of people, and they're having to walk down a long-ass field. Like, dude, that will drain you. They're just walking.
Yep.
They're just walking and playing to the outside, to the outer perspective. It doesn't look like they're doing anything crazy.
Right.
But in reality, what you're not seeing behind that cold face that they got is,
yeah,
I gotta play in time.
Yeah, and their legs are like bricks. Yeah, because they're,
making it harder on yourself. We kind of use the same mindset of refer to it as throwing ourselves in the fire.
Yeah.
And so throw yourself in the fire, because then if you can exist, if you can live and survive through that fire, then it's just going to be that much easier.
Yep.
Like make it harder on yourself so that way when it's not so hard, it's just that much easier.
Yep. Exactly.
Kind of like the same mindset of like if you're tired but you knew you have something to get done, and you, even if it was fully your fault, you didn't get enough sleep, you didn't do this, you made that commitment. Stick to that commitment, even though you're tired, because guess what? What it teaches you the next time is that you can do it. You can finish it, and even though you told yourself, no, I can't do this, I'm tired or I'm worn out.
Yep.
You beat yourself to it.
Yeah.
You beat your mind.
Yeah.
And so
so when I came back to making music, the song I first came out with was called Champ, right? And if you look up that song on Spotify, I have a picture where I'm holding a bunch of medals, and I got that idea from I forgot her name, the gold medalist, the gymnast girl.
Gabby Douglas.
Yeah, she has a picture where she's holding a bunch of medals. Yeah. So I got that idea from her, and the idea is I wanted to tie not just the name of the song, the idea of like drive with swimming. So the idea was if you listen to the lyrics, I'm tying a lot of my experience in swimming, even the lyrics that I use, like staying in my lane, doing 20 laps. Not giving up, like there's a lot of stuff I talk about swimming, and I relate it, and I talk about it in my song Champ. But I think part of that drive, you'll hear it here every now and then. You'll hear me talk about swimming because it was a big part of my upbringing. Yeah.
So when it comes, like you mentioned that whenever you're swimming, it's talent versus talent. There's no, because there's no ball, there's no really like any objective other than you get from point A to point B the fastest. What about that? What about that drive? What about that is different than, would you say, from any other sport?
Let's say something about just being in the water. I think it really, really, like, for me, it doesn't feel like I have a hard time exercising. The only way I can really get myself to exercise and not get bored is swimming, because it doesn't feel like exercise for me. So like when I get in the water, it just feels like my thoughts are free. Like almost like my thoughts are like whatever worries I had, they literally float away with the water. Like that's how I feel when I get in water. So I don't know, it feels very compared to other sports, for me it's very therapeutic. It's very therapeutic just being in the water. It's like every stroke, every lap that I'm taking, every turn that I'm taking, I feel whatever worry, whatever stress I have leaving my body. Yeah.
And you're almost taking the shape of water. It almost seems like whenever you get in there, because you have to work against the current that's there. You have to work against the way that the water pushes back on you. And if you don't know how to function in the water, that water is going to hold you back.
Yep.
But if you know what you're doing, then you can cut through it, and you can swim through it gracefully.
Yeah.
And being able to hold yourself like that, or being able to take that shape of water, is, I feel like, very important. And I feel like it definitely helps sharpen your craft as an artist. It helps sharpen your mind as an individual.
Yeah.
But damn.
It's fun. It's fun. You guys got any sports you love, or?
I used to play football.
Football?
Football,
What position?
yeah.
Football.
I was a right guard, so
Nice.
I was right there on the O-line.
Yeah.
That was where I was best at, but because I was tall, they always tried to make me a tackle, which was tough because, I was terrible at tackle. I was way better at a guard, so I really didn't get a chance to, I feel like I didn't really get a chance to kind of be the best version of myself that I could be on the field. But as much as I loved football, and I still love football, I still watch it to this day. I definitely knew even then doing it then that it wasn't really something that I didn't really have the drive or power to want to do. I didn't really feel like I needed to, like I didn't really think that, you know, football was going to take me anywhere. I didn't think that I was going to go to college for it. And it was just like, well, if I'm not in it, if my heart's not in it, and I'm not really thinking about it like everybody else is, then like maybe I should try to find something that I actually do enjoy doing. That's when I started to focus on music and actually focus more on being a story writer first. Writing is my biggest passion. I love creating stories and putting people into worlds that they would have never gone into themselves. That to me is something that you really can't, like, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? It's something special. Being able to take somebody's emotions and put them into a world that you created. That's something incredible. And it wasn't until I started working with these two guys that I realized that my love for storytelling, it goes hand in hand with writing music. Because when you write a song, like how we were talking about before, you're telling a story about yourself. You're telling a story either about your experiences, about your drives, about your passions, about everything. You're being relatable to the audience, and you're trying to create and invoke a feeling. So when you listen to a really good song, at least when I do, I get chills sometimes when I listen to a really good song. Like when a chorus swells up, or when a beat drops really hard, or whenever somebody is vocalizing, they're singing very loudly, like it hits down to the spine, to my core. I literally just completely shakes me from the ground up, and being able to have that effect on somebody else, it's mind-blowing. It's almost something that's kind of an out-of-body experience, really, because it's like, damn, something that I made really got to somebody that well.
That's
I
really
didn't even go on a tangent there, but
no. But is there a way that you feel like that experience from being a right guard, or being in football? Do you feel like there's an energy or some type of like determination or work ethic that transferred over to what you do now, or even to your writing process?
100%.
100%.
Yeah, I was gonna say he can definitely also agree with it. It's the level of.
You were in football as well.
Yeah, I played nose guard, and
nice.
I really think like I played football my whole life, since I was like 5 years old till 17.
Nice.
So like that
middle
was
school and stuff.
Yeah, that was my first love, my first like, this is what I'm doing, this is how I'm doing it. But my senior year, our last game, it got to the point where I was looking around, and I was like, these guys are a lot bigger than me. And like, I think we done with this. Like, and so that for me was just like, damn, I just lost, like, I lost
the realization.
But what I will say is, like, the music thing came in, I say, like, my junior year, sophomore year. Took an audio visual class. That's where me and him met. We met in audio visual class. And that kind of, like, piqued my interest into the music, but it wasn't like I'm in it. The music thing didn't come till I was after high school. And I had to sit down and really think about, like, damn, do I want to do this? Do I not want to do this? And he kind of like forced my hand in that. He was like, get in here and let's record. So, and now we're here.
Oh yeah.
You start to notice too that, especially doing those sports, is that you look around and you see the people who are really grinding hard. And you see what they're doing. Like the guys who were on varsity, who were the starters on A team, one thing that they all had in common was that when the practice ended, they were
still
running.
Practicing.
They were running afterwards. I knew a guy. I can't remember his first name. We all call each other by last name, so 90% of them I don't know their first name. But at the time I was a sophomore, he was a senior. His last name was Gannon. And every day when practice ended, he would be out there for another hour running suicides, doing 300 shuttles. And if he wasn't out there doing that, he'd go to the weight room and he'd wait and he'd hit those plates and he'd practice and he'd work on his form all the time. One of the guards that I worked with who was above me, his name was Jared Hawker. He was one of the biggest dudes out there, and he was really good at what he did. He actually ended up going to college for it and ended up being on the practice squad for the Seattle Seahawks.
Wow. Good for him.
Oh, yeah, really good for him. And what I saw, though, was the determination, that drive, that passion. And what was funny is that I think back to it now, I always used to think he was a little mean. But now I think back on it and I'm just like, nah, he was just hungry.
He was focused.
He was focused on what it was that he was trying to do. And like when he saw that somebody wasn't as locked in as he was, it made him mad. It was like, bro, like,
get
what?
Out of the way.
Like, yeah, why are you here on the field? Like, if we're on the field, we're here to be hungry.
Yeah.
And so that right there, that sort of mindset that I saw everybody else have, I was like, I need to find something to where I feel that way about it. I need to find something to where I want to perfect my craft just like they do. And that is the thing that sort of bleeds into making music, is that
that's great.
You have to love that shit.
Yeah, that's
you
great.
really do.
And that's so much harder to do than people realize, because it's so easy to look at that and be like, man, that could have been me.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Like, I hope he fails at whatever he's doing. You know, why didn't I get that opportunity? It's so easy to think that way, you know? But to go against that and say, no, like, this is an example. You know, I could do it for myself too. Yeah. You know, in a different space. Look how he stuck to something and it paid off, right? Yeah. Why couldn't I do the same, right? And you know, you should commend yourself for that, because I would say the majority of people choose the first option, right? They don't choose the latter, right?
You can look at someone and judge, or you can look at someone and understand.
Yeah.
It's even like he said, taking something that was mean at forefront, you could take it on the surface level, get your feelings hurt, and be like, "Why is it mean?" Or you can look at it, maybe there's a deeper level. Yeah. That's someone to understand, trying to find that.
Yeah.
Because 9 times out of 10, I mean, there's going to be people that are inherently assholes, but for the most part, people aren't that way. There's usually a reason that something came out of them that way because of it. Yeah. I try to live my life that way, change the way I see everything, which is just understanding the why. Even if somebody did something super petty to me, okay, well, why in their head did they feel like they needed it? Learning to live that way allows you to kind of like relate with people, connect with people, because instead of just pushing someone off after one bad thing or one thing, it's like, okay, let me give them a chance to understand where it came from. Yeah. And turn it around. Yeah.
And I did that. I'm victim to having done that, you know, when I was sick a lot, you know, just going with the easy route and just pushing people away and not caring. Yeah. And it definitely didn't pay off. No. You know? Yeah. It definitely doesn't open up opportunities. And as much as you might like speak, because I think the hardest critic is yourself, you know? As much as you might speak negatively to yourself at times, because we all do it, what I have realized is when you just, I wouldn't say bottle it up, but I would say when you externally fight against that feeling by doing things like as simple as you go to the gas station and you're getting a snack or something, ask the person how their day is going. What are they up to, you know? You end up striking a conversation with somebody, getting to know somebody. Oh, you're going to be leaving next week? I just left my job. Did you find something good? You might end up making that person's day. You never know. And I think I've learned recently that doing things like that, it helps bring opportunities. Yeah. It helps create I don't know how it works, what kind of magic God is doing, but it creates opportunities and it really opens doors. And I didn't start seeing that until I started. I didn't realize, I think what was hard for me is I didn't make the connection that it's not something that you necessarily have to change internally. It's something that you have to display externally. Yeah. Because you might, it's sometimes for me, it's so hard to fight that. But the way I've learned to fight it is the way I treat people, the way I express myself, the way I conduct myself, is the way I would want to be treated, you know? And not just that, just go above and beyond. Like you see other people and like maybe the success that they've had, and then you see how they interact with people. And you think to yourself, maybe there's something to it.
It's opening themselves up, putting themselves out there.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that that's something I've learned over time, and I'm trying to implement more and more in my life, and it's paying off, you know.
There's a Jim Carrey movie that I love so much.
Jim Carrey's amazing.
Objectively, people will say it's a bad movie, especially the critics, but I don't care what the critics have to say. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's called Yes Man. If you love Jim Carrey, so you've seen Yes Man?
Yes.
Dude, Yes Man is one of my like. I'm telling you, it's one of my favorite movies personally to me because as silly and as goofy as it is, of course, I mean, dude, it's Jim Carrey. Come on. What are we talking? Of course it's going to be goofy. But the message is great because it's like that the reality is that if you say no, if you don't put yourself out there, if you don't say yes to every single opportunity that comes your way, you will miss out on a completely different life than you wouldn't even imagine for yourself. I'd love to look at that movie because it's like, just think about what he was doing. He was saying no to everything. Oh, I'm just staying in my apartment, you know, blah, blah. I had a long work week. I just want to watch movies this weekend. Yeah. And his whole life just was divided into just, oh yeah, let me go to the video store. Let me do this, blah, blah. I don't want to hang out with my friends. My boy's getting married, but I'm not going to his bachelor party. But then as soon as he started saying yes to things, as soon as he was like, you know what? Yeah, I'll do this. Whatever. It's not something that I want to do, but let me do it. Look at everything that happened in that movie. And yeah, I get it. It's a movie, oh, blah, 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 it's fake, but the message is still real. Yeah. The message is still real that, hey, you decided to talk to that guy. You never know what could have happened. Yep. There's a dude that I talked to at work. His name is Sam. I want to give him a quick shout out. He's pretty cool. He makes music. He produces. Nice. And I started talking. I got matched up in his trailer on my first day of work there. And normally, when I'm working, I'm in my mindset and my work mode, especially since, you know, we're in a hot trailer loading packages, so I'm just like, you know, let me just work. But today, for some reason, I felt a little different. I was like, you know what, let me ask him, to say, hey, how's your day, man? How long you been working here, blah, 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 blah. If I hadn't decided to ask him about that, then I would have never known who Sam was. I would have never known that he was a producer. I would have never known that he liked to do music, and now him and I are pretty good friends at work. Yeah. And that would have never happened had I not just decided to ask someone, hey, how's your day, bro?
Yeah. It makes a big difference, man. Opens up a whole book of, like you said, a whole life opportunities in life, experiences in life that you never thought you would have had. Right.
You gotta be willing to take a chance sometimes.
Yeah. Take that risk.
2 months ago, I told Big B, I said, hey, I want to start an artist spotlight. I want you to reach out to people. Yeah. It's like, we don't have any followers, we don't have any good thing to stand on, but screw it. Just start reaching out to people and seeing what they say. I was nervous a little against it, but same thing. Yeah. We would not be here right now. Yeah. And for the last 2 months, we have grown more than we did in the last year. We have connected with more people over the last 2 months, and on like a real level. It's not just like a client person level. Like, we're connecting with people because we're building relationships, and it's like, and where would we have been if we never just decided to have the idea? What if we started interviewing people? Yeah.
And so what for the spotlight? What would you say is working now, and what would you maybe not like to say improve, or what would you like to change, or what would you like to add? Is there anything?
Right now, we are with the spotlight. Our biggest thing, and what we keep trying to improve with every episode, is trying to make it more of a conversation. I think at first we tried to be too interviewee, and so we've been trying to work really hard on just making sure that it's more of a conversation, kind of sit down thing, relax. That way, you don't have to feel like you're putting on a performance. We don't have to feel like we're putting on a performance. Because that was where we kind of ran into those first few episodes for sure. It was like
performance.
Yeah, it was like you're performing, you're saying one question, you're answering, and then, but I mean, even just the little things, we made a video about it, but learning to listen. You can look at your questions and have these questions, but half the time, the best question is just coming from your mouth if you're paying attention and listening and just learning to react for that. Yeah. So we keep these really as background, just to have if we have nothing else. Yeah. But beforehand, it was like we were super dependent on them. Okay, we're reading, asking. Now it's just like, okay, these are there if we have nothing else. We need something to connect to. Yeah. What we're working on changing, and we're working on growing from here, is trying to make it not just an artist spotlight, but this is the first time we're saying publicly, but we're starting the process series. And so what it is kind of the same thing we're doing with the artist spotlight, but we are going to start interviewing anybody.
That's cool.
Any creator, any person who's building a business, any father, any brother, anybody who has a story to tell, who has something to talk about. Yeah. The whole point of this is that your story matters before the numbers do, and we want to see you during the process. Everyone wants to embellish it after the fact. We want to show it during the process, the real authentic version. That's so cool. We didn't want to limit ourselves to just music after that point, because we saw a lot of people were enjoying what we had. And so why not grow that? But how do we make it memorable? Which is, now let's go talk to anybody. Yeah. And reach out to people and, have a conversation first before you just allow anybody. But at the end of the day, it's like, you're a father who started your own business. It's a plumbing business, and you're raising your family. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about your business. What did you take? What did you struggle? What did you learn with? You got an addiction. Let's talk about your addiction. You're welcome to talk about it. Let's talk about how you were broken. You had to work for $8 an hour. Right. And so it's like anything like that, because the whole point is like, like for you when you're trying to build a society, it's the same thing. It's like a community. How can we connect with people and just show everyone that everyone's story matters?
Yeah.
Because everyone's story does matter. And I'm trying
absolutely.
to let everyone know that you are important. For me, same thing. Being a godly man, how can I inspire? How can I touch people? How can I affect them? And how can I give them some type of meaning that they wouldn't have had before?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. You think you're gonna realize, and you probably already are. You guys are is you're putting out a lot of love, and you're gonna get a lot back. You know, because people really appreciate that. And it's like I think that's an area that hasn't been filled, or there hasn't been enough support provided, is helping spotlight artists, helping promote artists. I think that's an area where I would say I struggled with for so long, and finding a producer, finding someone to master, finding my sound, all of that stuff comes with time. But finding when you get to a point where, say, you found your sound, you found you have a good producer, you're doing shows, you start thinking about how can I promote myself. If that's something you're interested in, like how do I get to the next level, you know? And right now I'm at that space where like I'm getting to open up locally for some, some bigger artists that are touring nationally, but my goal is how can I become the headliner, or how can I become part of the set list where that artist wants me to open up with them anytime they come to Dallas.
Yeah.
So that's my goal. That's my next step. And I'm very, very thankful. I thank God that I have friends who have stayed in this industry who I can look at as an example. I'm very, very lucky that I have that, because I can look and I can say, all right, this is what I need to do. A lot of people don't have that. So I'm very thankful I have that. Yeah.
It's a good.
Had a homie reach out to me quite literally yesterday because he's trying to start something. His whole text, he's gonna come over today to talk to me. He's like, "How do you do it? How do you push through?" He's like, "I want to start with something. I want to start streaming and stuff." He's like, "I don't know how to stick with it. And I don't know how to believe in myself. There's not anything going on." So I'm excited to kind of talk to him about it. But there's a lot of things. It's like it's hard for people to continue to push. That's the other thing too. Is I feel like local artists give up on themselves way too soon. And us reaching out to people and reaching out to actually local artists, actual people growing. Like we're not. I've seen some other podcasts. I'm not clowning anybody or talking about anybody. But they talk to local artists, but they're still local artists with a good scene. And it's like we're actually trying to find people that are at any phase of any level. So there's no, if you have 200 followers, if you have 5,000, but at the end of the day, is just all we're looking for is, are you a real artist? Are you actually making music?
Right.
You're trying. So being able to bring that to people and showing people just how many people there are in the community, and then from there connecting people together with us getting connections as well. But on top of that, now we're connecting other people, leading other people to each other.
I mean, I'm enjoying like seeing the different artists that come through. I know some of them, like I know Clear Lanes. I've performed in shows with him, so like it's great to see. Like I said, once you're in the industry and you start working with people who take it seriously, you realize it's a smaller group than you realize, And so I enjoy seeing the artists that are coming through, and hopefully even seeing more artists like where I listen to them, like I want to reach out to that person, see if they want to collaborate, And it's like this is also a window for artists to see other artists and learn about them, right? So
that was one thing that we started to notice, is that also to give another shout out to a guest that we had previously, Tito Strange, and Antics. We also had them on. Antics is a real one, bro. Ever since we've had him on the podcast, he has been like a straight supporter, absolute real one. And then him and Tito Strange, two completely different artists who in any other situation would have probably never crossed paths, are now interacting in the comments with each other, and and then Antics is following Tito Strange now, and then vice versa. Now everybody's starting to, and it's like we're seeing the little bits here. We're seeing a little bit as like, oh yeah, a little community that we're building here, a little bit of like connection, like you were saying, like potential. Like, maybe one day we might see Cciety and Clear Lanes, maybe one day we might see, all different types of people coming together and doing stuff. And
it'd be even cool to put on a show. If you guys put on a show one day, you had enough artists come through, that'd be a really good idea.
I was about to say, I won't say too much about it, but we definitely are planning. It's in the works. I was about to say.
And it could be even in collaboration with someone like all of us artists. If we're performing, we work with talent agents. So if you wanted to even work with somebody like that had a venue or something, I'd be more than happy to make that introduction. If you wanted to work with somebody. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Because we're definitely planning. We're planning a show, and then we were going to reach back to every single person who's been on the artist spotlight.
Cool.
And offer them a chance to perform once we're able to get it all set up.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
So, speaking of like connecting, we are getting a little bit towards a close. Before we get to a close, we do have a segment. It's called "Leave the Light On." So, as we were talking about connecting artists to artists, the whole reason we started this was to allow to connect the artist from the last episode to this episode, and for you to connect theoretically with the artist on the next episode.
Okay, cool.
And so what it is there's two index cards right there. One of them has your name. The one below it is the artist from last episode.
Okay.
And so all we ask is for you to leave a message for the next person sitting in that chair, leaving the light on for them.
Okay.
So it can be motivation, it could be one word, it could be a picture, it could be anything that just means something to you, but something you would want to say to the next artist sitting in that chair. And then after you write yours down, we'll have you read what the artist said last week.
Okay.
And it's just kind of like passing a message, kind of starting a train. If you don't mind reading what Victoria XO.
Cool. I know of her because she's performed in shows with Dre.
Yeah.
But not really Dre, but I haven't met her in person. She seems like a cool person.
She was a really cool person to talk to. Yeah.
Nice.
She was actually just had a performance last night, I think, at Southside Music Hall.
Nice. I need to go see her perform. I'll stray when she's performing. Please do not ever let anyone tell you that your voice doesn't matter. It's true. Keep going. Keep speaking your truth. You are so wonderful. That's great. Yeah. That's very important. Yeah. It's like even like you doubt yourself, and I think what's so great about music is that you can just express yourself without doubting yourself, and people will relate to it. So 100% agree. I'll reach out. I'll tell her thank you. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Cciety, before we kind of wrap things up, before we kind of bring things to a close, is there anything you feel like you didn't get to say? Is there anything you want to talk about, mention? It can be to us, it can be to the people, just anything. Was there something you felt like you wanted to say before you came on?
No, I think just to show my appreciation to you guys. I haven't. You don't come across often people who find their passion and their love in helping others, right? Especially in music, right? It's a very ego-driven kind of sport thing.
Yeah.
So to focus on that, I'm very appreciative, and I think you guys should pat yourself on the back and just continue doing it, and you're gonna continue getting more and more love, and I think it's gonna lead to a lot of open doors for you guys. So, thank you.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, really. It means a lot.
Yeah. Well, before we close off, we also like to give the artist a chance to shout out anybody that has meant something to you in your career or in your personal life.
Yeah.
Kind of like a Grammy speech kind of thing, however you'd like to do it, but just a chance to shout out anybody you'd like to right now on the podcast.
Yeah. Probably like 4 or 5 people. I'd say definitely my wife, Jenny. She stuck with me through thick and thin. When I went through my health issues, when I stopped making music, when I decided to start making music again, just continuing to motivate me. I'd say my first person who ever interviewed me, her name was DJ CP. She's local as well. She's here in Fort Worth. HCP. She first person who interviewed me back in the day. She had a radio station here in Fort Worth. And I just appreciate her noticing me in the show and just enjoying the performance so much that she wanted to do something with me. And she even came out to the show, that was here in Fort Worth at the Haltman Theater. So she's been a fan. I would say like my first fan, for 8+ years ago, 7, when she first saw me. If there's a show, she'll make sure if she's available, she'll be there. And I really appreciate her for that. And my friend artist I mentioned, J Trey, just for being persistent and being an example for me when I decided to go back into making music, and kind of providing that, I wouldn't say stepping stones because we all take our own path, but providing that example of how it can be done, right? So yeah, I'd like to shout out those people. Yeah.
Well, Cciety, we appreciate you coming here.
Yeah.
We're thankful for you. We appreciate you taking a chance on us. Once again, we're just starting out. We're still learning. We're still going. Every single episode, we're learning something new. We're trying to improve with every single episode. And it means a lot when anybody actually shows up and takes the chance to sit down and have a conversation with us.
Yeah.
We've said it before, but we always like to say it again. But the whole reason we do this is because your story matters before the numbers do.
Yeah.
We want to see the authentic, true version of you as an artist, and even as you as a person. We would like to be able to show everyone else in this Dallas-Fort Worth community, in this music scene, as much as we grow, what it's like to be able to kind of turn the camera the other way and show that authentic version of an artist.
Yeah.
And give somebody a chance to be able to tell their story
while
they're still in their story.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. Thank you.
We appreciate you, man. We're grateful for you. And I'm just going to close this out by, this has been Benlo. This has been Big B. This has been Santi. We are in Trizio. And it's been an absolute pleasure to have you, Society, on our show.
Peace, guys.
Thank you very much, guys, and we'll see y'all next time.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
Miss me now, when you see I'm gone and there ain't